Welcome to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. And welcome to New York City. We're here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Quarterfinal action. Two quarterfinals coming your way tonight from the New York Life ACC Tournament. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Duke Blue Devils, who have certainly had some games against one another in the ACC Tournament in recent years. This is the 2018 New York Life ACC Tournament. This morning, Virginia did what Virginia does. They were efficient offensively, stifling defensively. They beat Louisville to advance onto the semis, where they will meet the Clemson Tigers, who held off the pesky Boston College Eagles. The 12 seed put up a fight, but in the end, the 4 seed, led by Gabe DeVoe, who had a big day. The Tigers, who are having a great year, they advance onto the semis, where they will take on the #1 team of the nation tomorrow night in the first of 2 semifinals. We'll sort out the second semifinal here tonight. It's Miami and North Carolina coming up later. Duke and Notre Dame now in the first game. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Brooklyn. This should be fun. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. The Irish, a very interesting case. Bonzie Colson misses 15 games. Matt Farrell misses 5 games. So Notre Dame's record is not what it could be or should be. Do they need this win tonight to get in?
I think they do. I think Notre Dame, in order to feel comfortable, I think they should be in anyway. But because of all this quad one win business that the committee looks at, I think Notre Dame would be well served to win this game, especially with Bonzie Colson back in the lineup, and they are fully capable of doing that.
The Duke Blue Devils, of course, they have long since secured their spot in the tournament. For them, it's maybe about seeding. Duke, though, has been a different team the last 7 or 8 games at the defensive end of the floor.
Well, they're playing zone. It's now Syracuse South. It's been a 2-3 zone. It really comes into a 2-2-1 because the wings will come up, and it positions their big guys better. They're positioned to run. They can protect the rim. They're not put in ball screen situations. Last 7 games, they're holding their opponents under 60 points. They are holding them under 40% from the field and under 30% from 3. And the last team to score 70 points on Duke was North Carolina in Chapel Hill on February 8th. That's how good this defense has been for Duke.
For more on tonight's matchup, let's send it cross court. Here's Allison Williams.
Hey there, Dan. Mike Krzyzewski described Marvin Bagley III as a once-in-a-generation type player. He has put up once-in-a-generation type numbers in the last 25 seasons. Only 2 other freshmen have averaged 20 points and 11 rebounds. Michael Beasley in 07-08 and Kevin Durant the year before. So naturally, Bagley cleaned up the All-ACC honors. He took home Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and was named All-ACC First Team. The honor of guarding him tonight goes to Notre Dame's Bonzie Colson, who was the preseason Player of the Year. Mike Gray said he's read about him, heard about him all year. He's excited for the opportunity to finally play against him. Dan?
All right, Allison, thank you. For more on tonight's matchup, a little more analysis, let's send it to the Game Day gang. Reese Davis is with Jay Williams and Seth Greenberg.
All right, Dan, 4th straight year we've seen Duke and Notre Dame in the ACC Tournament. When we started our afternoon here at Barclays Center, we wondered how many of the top 4 seeds would make it to Friday. Afternoon session, both of them looked terrific with the advancement by Virginia and Clemson. What about tonight, Seth? Will we see upsets in terms of seeding tonight?
You know, I've given this a lot of thought, and actually I've had a kind of epiphany in the last few seconds. I'm saying Notre Dame controls the tempo of the game because Duke allows them to. They get Bonzie Colson the ball in the middle of the floor. They rebound the ball. They keep Duke in front, and Notre Dame wins this game.
Here's the key to this game. Bonzie Colson being in the middle of that court, Seth, making that mid-range jump shot, making jump shots for other people. If Notre Dame's able to hit shots from the outside, yes, they have a chance to win. They're that talented. But I still think Duke's inside presence will be way too much between Bagley and Carter. I have Duke winning the game.
All right, so Duke and Notre Dame met in the previous 3 years. 2 of those games won by the Irish, one by the Blue Devils. Overall, Duke has now won the last 3 meetings against Notre Dame. As Jay and Dan alluded to, really important for the Irish tonight, where they're sitting right there on the bubble. And we'll see how Grayson Allen and the Blue Devils fare. Rex Pfluger and the Fighting Irish ready to go. Dan, Jay, ought to be a fun night tonight.
It sure ought to be, Reese. Thank you. So a split decision between Greenberg and Williams as to who wins this game. They did meet during the regular season. Duke won easily at Cameron, but no Bonzie Colson, no Matt Farrell in that game. Mike Krzyzewski's got a ton of respect for the experience and the toughness that Colson and Farrell bring to a game?
Well, they're great players, and Notre Dame has been this has been the winningest senior class that Notre Dame's ever had. And they are used to tournament play. And this young Duke team, this is the first postseason tournament that they have played in.
This is Duke's debut here in the New York Life ACC Tournament for the Irish, the 10 seed, their third game in as many days. We'll see how their legs and their lungs are over the course of the night. Duke with the first possession of the game.
Notre Dame starting out man-to-man. Martinez Gebben going against Wendell Carter Jr. down low.
And the left hand a little bit too strong for Carter, out of bounds to the Irish.
That was a quick move by Wendell Carter. Sometimes he gets the ball into the paint and he pauses and doesn't go right away. He's much better when he goes right away.
Look at the starting five for the Irish. Headliners, of course, Colson, the preseason pick for ACC Player of the Year, but the injury cost him those honors. And Matt Farrell, 17.5 points per game and a very good outside shooter. Duke, of course, in the zone. Colson in the middle, gets the elbow jumper, not there.
Colson will get the ball in the middle of that zone. He was fading to the side on that shot. If he'd gone straight up, I think that would have been a shot he would have made.
Carter can take that three and make it. Instead, he'll go underneath to Bagley.
Boy, if you don't get pressure on Wendell Carter Jr., he's going to pick you apart up there. And as long and athletic as Bonzie Colson is, he can't keep the ball away from Marvin Bagley III when he's got inside position.
Rex Pfluger, a wide open three.
That's what Notre Dame needs to do against this 1-2-2 3/4 court pressure. You know, one of the things, Dan, that this Duke zone does, it reduces the amount of possessions in a game. And that actually helps Notre Dame against Duke.
Carter rejected by Colson, and then he commits a foul.
Bonzie Colson is and always has been an excellent shot blocker. He blocks over 2 shots per game. He's got great timing and fantastic length. He's blocking out, then comes in there with those long arms, blocks the shot, and Wendell Carter Jr. takes him down to the floor for his first foul.
You alluded to it. This is a new experience for the Blue Devils, all the freshmen they have. As Farrell doesn't get the bounce, Gebben turns it over. And we talked with Mike Krzyzewski about first road game, first league game, now first tournament game. Marvin Bagley seems to be acclimating himself pretty well to Brooklyn so far.
Yeah, I don't think anything bothers Marvin Bagley III. He's got the only thing he's got to put extra time in now, polishing all the trophies he's picking up.
Farrell, no. And ripping down the rebound with one hand is Carter.
Duke still can run out of that 2-3 zone. I think they have to really be resolute to get the ball up and down the court as quickly as they can. Try to get down in transition and score before Notre Dame's defense is set. Because they can slow Notre Dame down with this 1-2-2, then getting into the zone. But Duke doesn't want to slow itself down. They want to get out and run.
Notre Dame comfortable playing at a slower pace, right?
They would rather have a slower pace and fewer possessions. The more possessions in the game, advantage Duke.
If Colson keeps getting looks like that, he's going to have a pretty big night.
Well, one thing, though, when the ball goes in there, it only counts for 2. The problem Duke has is if they give up open threes to Notre Dame.
Bagley for 3. And he's off to a fast start tonight.
How good is this guy? ACC Player of the Year, first team All-ACC as a freshman. Rookie of the Year, of course. You can't be Player of the Year, not Rookie of the Year when you're a freshman. And first team All-America. And that's just the start of the awards coming in for him.
3 games of 30 or more points, 15 or more rebounds. Colson missed a 4-footer after a sweet feed from Farrell. Grayson Allen on the wing. Got it.
That's the way Duke has to play. I mean, that's a 3 that you have to work really hard for in the half court. If you can get it right away in transition, take it. Well, Duke's length out top is impressive. When they decide they want to extend, Trevon Duval is long-armed.
Again, Colson gets a touch at the foul line. Tripped by Carter.
That's his second.
It's the second foul on Wendell Carter Jr. And Mike Krzyzewski has to make a very early sub here in this game.
And this is where the value of Marquise Bolden really comes in, because he can come off the bench. He's an experienced player. Another guy who's long arm, can move his feet, big and strong, and takes up a lot of space inside.
Pfluger's hit 1 3. Not this time. Gebben, one of the most improved players in the ACC, with the follow.
Now, if Wendell Carter Jr.'s in there, does he get that rebound? I don't know, because Marvin Bagley didn't make a move to try to get inside and block him out from the weak side.
Trent for three. Long rebound out to Bolden.
What a pass.
Duval to Bagley for a ferocious slam.
Doesn't matter where Bagley is. He just explodes off the floor and gets above the rim.
What a start for Bagley. He's got 9. TJ Gibbs knocks down a 3. And you got to believe if Notre Dame's going to win this game, they've got to have a good night from three-point range.
No question. And TJ Gibbs a 40% three-point shooter. That's his 76-3 on the season. And I think he has to have a really good game for Notre Dame to win. 2-3 zone now for the Irish.
Duval into the paint. Bolden over Gebbin gets it to go.
He has really improved, starting to come back into his own now after being injured earlier in the season, missing a ton of games.
You see the brace on his right knee, missed 7 games with a knee injury, and he's been a bigger factor off the bench for Duke since returning. Farrell was calling for a ball screen. Instead, the lob to Gebbin.
Nobody rotated down. That's where Gary Trent up top has got to rotate down. If you're just guarding an area and not a man in that zone, you're making a mistake, because you're going to see Notre Dame overload it. They're going to overload a side in order to try to get a mismatch, and you've got to go to that overload, move to the overload.
Veteran team with a lot of good passers. Bagley, a rare miss. Bolden, a terrific rebound. Trent. Well, Gebbin's clearing some space underneath for the Irish right now.
Well, he has to be physical, because if you're just going to jump with Marvin Bagley III, he's going to get the rebound. I'd attack Bagley's side. I'd put 2 guys over there and make him make a decision. And there it is.
Pfluger tried to tip it back in, couldn't do it.
See, Bagley doesn't make his second decision as quickly in the zone as perhaps he should. Maybe when he's older he will, but he's not going to get older quick, so attack that side of the defense.
Farrell off the turnover.
Good pass.
Gibbs. And a beautiful feed to Bonzie Colson to bring the Irish back within 2.
This is a great passing team. You know, Mike Bray has established at Notre Dame a culture of passing. That ball moves when Notre Dame has it.
This is why Mike Bray says, and quote, hey, when we've got all our guys, we're a top 20 team. He thinks they should be in the tournament regardless of what happens, as Grayson Allen knocks down his second 3 of the game.
Well, you can't collapse inside. When the ball goes inside, Duke's playing inside out. If you collapse to the ball, they're kicking it out. And Grayson Allen, you give him that much time, he's going to make it every time.
Boy, they are trading buckets in the early going here in Brooklyn.
2 teams that know how to play. And Notre Dame, that when they're on, they are fun to watch.
Grayson Allen, a deep 3. It's been Bagley inside and Allen outside thus far for Duke.
Well, Duke's been holding teams under 70. That looks like a chore in this one.
Turnaround Colson too strong.
You might want to just take that to the basket.
Man, if that was a heat check, it checked out just fine for Grayson Allen.
Well, it all started with Marvin Bagley III, the ACC Player of the Year. In transition, the little lob and an easy stuff, and he's getting in on the three-point act as well. The lefty knocks it down. Duke way ahead to start.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. We know that life doesn't fit into any one plan, so start a plan that flexes with yours. And the LG V30.
When it comes to the ACC tournament, these 2 teams are very familiar with one another. Last year, Duke won the championship game by 6 over the Irish. 2 years ago, Notre Dame in a quarterfinal matchup won it in overtime. And 3 years ago, Notre Dame beat Duke by 10 in the semis before dispatching North Carolina in the championship game to win its first ever ACC Tournament championship. And Mike Bray's team and Mike Krzyzewski's team both shooting the ball really well here in the early going. The 2 teams are combined 17 for 30 and 8 out of 13 from 3. Allison Williams with more.
Well, guys, in that timeout, Mike Bray telling his guys they need to tighten up in their man defense. They want to play flat on Duval and then make sure they're really shading to Allen's side with how hot he is here already with 12 points. And then offensively, he said, don't be afraid to drive. There's a lot of openings there. We're getting great looks. We're moving the ball well, but make sure you're continuing to look to drive.
And again, a long stretch without a whistle. And so Mike Bray went to his bench. He's taken both Bonzie Colson and Martinez-Gebben out of the game. Remember, third game in as many days for the Irish. And Mike Bray will try to use the timeout strategically to get some of his players rest when he feels they need it.
Well, a good steal by Austin Torres there. Mike's going to have to play a number of different big guys because he can't put Martinez-Gebben all game long in a position of picking up fouls going up against Duke's big guys. So he's going to have to try to steal some minutes, get them some rest, because this is their third game in 3 days.
And because they went so long before that first timeout, the next one's coming on the next whistle. So he can sit out Colson and Gebben for a few more minutes of actual time without them missing much game time at all.
Notre Dame having a hard time getting offensive rebounds because Duke has defensive rebounded really, really well to start.
Duval off to Javin DeLaurier, who's checked in off the Duke bench, and the lead grows for the Blue Devils.
Really, the biggest problem, Dan, that Notre Dame has had is they've given up so many points in transition. Not just open threes, but they're giving up shots at the bucket. That's 10 points in transition for Duke thus far.
John Mooney inside, challenged by DeLaurier, misses the follow. Working hard, but no results. Allen's already hit 4 threes in this game. Bagley's got one. Wide left on that one. Not only third game in as many days for the Irish, but 4 of their 5 starters with very big minutes in the first 2 games. Neither game was really easy. The win over Pitt a couple of nights ago in the first round, and then the big comeback win over Virginia Tech. How crazy was that game last night? Notre Dame down 21 in the second half and came back to win. Another nice feed from Duval to DeLaurier.
Really nicely done. They just went to a 1-4 set. Little wing ball screen, roll to the basket. DeLaurier with a really good catch. And ever since the second half against North Carolina in Cameron Indoor Stadium, Trevon Duval has been excellent. Just excellent.
Yeah. He had 5 assists, no turnovers in the second half against Carolina. He's got 6 assists already in this game. This could be number 7. And it is.
Boy, what a find by Duval. Right on cue. And Grayson Allen just ran to the three-point line and got in his line of vision and was just set up there.
Mooney in the middle. He's got a good shooting touch for a big man as well. But as you said before, Duke will give up 2s if they can make 3s at the other end.
Yeah, I don't think they're as worried about the 2s. So if the ball goes in there, they're not trying to invite it there. But what they don't want to do is open things up and have Notre Dame get open 3s.
Whoa. Is it going to be a flagrant one? The officials are going to talk about it.
It has to be. That was not a play on the ball, so they got to go look at it.
Nobody signaled flagrant one, but they are going to look at it after Torres wrapped him up.
Well, Grayson Allen has seen a big bucket in this one. I don't know that he's even missed from 3. He's been fantastic to start this game. 5 of 5.
68% as a team thus far, 13 for 19. They're getting it done outside with Grayson Allen. They're getting it done inside with Marvin Bagley III, who also has a 3. And that last foul has been upgraded to a flagrant 1 on Austin Torres for wrapping up Marvin Bagley.
Usually when you get upgraded, it's a good thing. But this is going to be 2 shots now and the ball. So Marvin Bagley will go to the line for 2 free throws with nobody on the line. Then Duke inbounds it. And this is an opportunity really for a 5-point possession if they're able to make both free throws and then knock down a 3.
So Bagley, the ACC Player of the Year, at the line. Right now, based on what Jerome Robinson of BC did today, they're basically dead even at 20.7 points per game on the season. If Bagley can get ahead of Robinson, miss those free throws, if he can get ahead of Robinson, he would become the first freshman ever to lead the ACC in both scoring and rebounding. Pretty remarkable.
He's really had an incredible season. You know, he had 6 30-point games. We've already mentioned 19 double-doubles. There's another foul. I mean, Gebben just grabbed him. Now, Notre Dame does not want to put Duke at the free throw line, especially the guards. I mean, both Gary Trent Jr. and Grayson Allen are excellent free throw shooters.
Allen's been playing some good basketball lately. The ball's been in his hands more at times the last few weeks, although in the second half of the game against Carolina and so far tonight, Duval's had the lion's share of the point guard responsibilities. But when Bagley was out, especially, Jay, Grayson Allen had some really big games for the Blue Devils.
He really did, and it was a leadership thing, I think, to put the ball in his hands and have Trevon Duval go off the ball. Coach K had talked about being a positioning thing as well, but right now when Duval's in the game, he's got the ball, and he's now the point guard again, and he has played at a really high level over his last couple of halves.
Some good passing again by the Irish, and Gevin with a slam on the feed from Pfluger.
Just getting it down to the baseline, flattens that defense out. And without Wendell Carter in the game, not as much shot blocking. Still the same kind of length, but Carter was a much better shot blocker.
Carter, if you weren't with us, went to the bench about 4 minutes in with 2 fouls. Colson with a rebound, saves it to Farrell. 4 on 3 numbers for the Irish.
Well, that pass needed to be made right away.
How about the soft rims for TJ Gibbs?
Pfluger is an excellent passer. And if he could have gotten that ball to TJ Gibbs right away, Gibbs would have had a wide open 3 in the corner. Notre Dame needs a stop. A little double stack low.
And a reach-in foul committed by Pfluger.
Notre Dame had an advantage situation, and TJ Gibbs ran right to the right corner. And see, Pfluger, really Gary Trent did a nice job to discourage that pass. Still turned into a bucket for Notre Dame, but as we mentioned before, it's a 2 instead of a 3. So for the most part, Duke has done a pretty good job of limiting Notre Dame from 3.
Duke's debut here with the ACC Tournament. They earned a double bye by virtue of finishing second in league standings during the regular season. The injury depleted Irish for much of the season. They finished 10th. Although in this league, third place was 11-7. 12th place was 7-11. That's how competitive the 15-team ACC was this season.
Well, how about North Carolina? They finished third at 11-7, but they're the 6th seed.
Right.
And obviously there's a tie for third, but because all the tiebreakers, they're the 6th seed in here. They got to play 4 games in 4 nights to bring home a crown.
Yeah, Miami's the 3 seed in both. They'll play each other in our second game tonight. Both of them went 11-7 during the regular season.
Great interior passing by Notre Dame's big guys, Martinez, Gevin, and that was a foul. Bonzie Colson made the bucket, but that should have been an N1. I'm shocked that they didn't call that.
8-point lead, Blue Devils. 8 minutes to go here in the first half. Miami, North Carolina is mentioned to come in the second quarterfinal tonight. There's a travel on Duval.
The culture of passing, Notre Dame goes all the way to the big guys. Martinez Gevin getting the ball along the baseline and getting it right to Bonzie Colson, who scores right through a foul and gets it to go down. Notre Dame, a little bit of a comeback.
But Obama back in there for Texas tonight. Of course, Texas needs all the wins they can muster right now. As we update you on the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship, Kansas and Kansas State through to the first semifinal on the family of networks tomorrow. The winner of the game Kevin just told you about against the winner of West Virginia and Baylor in the second game. Texas, a bubble team. Oklahoma State lost to Kansas, but mind you, they've beaten Kansas twice already this year. They've got some really good wins, but they've also got a high number of losses for a bubble team. The Irish, a bubble team. Louisville knocked out by Virginia here in Brooklyn today. They're a bubble team. Going to be a nervous few days for a lot of programs.
You got everybody on the bubble.
Everybody's on the bubble. Nobody is safely in.
I'll tell you who's on the bubble from that list that a lot of people don't think are, but they are, is Baylor. Like, Baylor needs to win against West Virginia, because I don't think the Bears are firmly in the tournament field.
All right, let's talk Big 12 for just a second. You have a choice. You can put Oklahoma or Oklahoma State into the tournament. Who goes in?
Oklahoma State, excuse me, not Oklahoma. I mean, how you finish matters. Now, this last 10 games business that the NCAA Selection Committee used to use wasn't a fair comparison, but it is a fair comparison to go, wait a minute, they haven't beaten anybody in forever.
Colson with a floater gets it to go.
That's that unorthodox style of Bonzie Colson, but he can make difficult shots. Now all of a sudden making twos and a couple of threes Notre Dame back in this because they've gotten a couple of stops.
And again, Notre Dame may be playing for their NCAA tournament lives. Nobody will know until Sunday what the committee is thinking. Carter can shoot the three, in and out. And it's still Duke ball. Notre Dame with 13 losses on the season, but no Colson for 15 games, no Farrell for 5 games. They went 6-9 without Bonzie Colson. They went 1-4 when both of them were out. So, Jay, should Notre Dame be evaluated on their resume or what we think they are when they're healthy?
Both, because their resume is competitive with all the bubble teams, even if you just go off without giving them a break for Bonzie Colson being out. If you look at what Notre Dame is with Bonzie Colson in the lineup, they're 14-4. I mean, they're a legit top 20 team, and you could even argue a top 10 team. So, when you're looking at Notre Dame versus Oklahoma or something like that, it's not close.
Farrell too strong on the three.
A little bit early to take that, even though Matt Farrell can knock that thing down. When you play Duke, your offense has to help your defense. You have to take good shots and have defensive balance so you can get back.
Carter over the top to Bagley, couldn't slam it home.
Wonder if Mike Brey is going to adjust and have Gebbin go out and try to put some pressure on Wendell Carter, because he can pick them apart up there. Not only knock down a three, but pass the ball high-low. That's 3 fouls now.
Oh, man.
Why go for that?
Yeah, Wendell Carter, and he knew as soon as he did it, he made a mistake.
Well, you're just not going to get that. That's not worth the risk. And that's really the only 3 fouls Duke has in this game, are his. And the instinct is good, Detroit, but you're going right over the shoulder of Bonzie Colson. That's going to be a foul 99 times out of 100.
So Bolden back in. Colson misses the three.
Had a hand right in his face. When Notre Dame gets open shots, they shoot a terrific percentage.
Colson comes up with a steal. How about that? Farrell behind the back. And Colson is fouled.
Well, that shows you what Notre Dame was missing with Bonzie Colson out of the lineup. The quick feet, anticipation, the long arms to knock that ball away. How many big guys do this, jumping out on a ball screen and taking the ball away from a point guard like Trevon Duval?
We take a look now at who's flipping the switch, brought to you by Boost Mobile. And we've talked about what the Irish were missing when Bonzie Colson was out. They went 6-9 without him. At one point, Jay, they lost 7 games in a row. And Mike Brey told us before the game that if you had told him then they'd be in the conversation now, he'd have jumped at that. But again, they're an experienced team. They've got some toughness, and they have found a way to win just enough to be in the conversation. Allison?
Well, it was after the loss in Durham that Mike Brey said his team kind of needed just a mental reset. So he gathered them all together, handed them the stats of the first half of the ACC season. He tore his stat sheet up, and he had everybody else do the same. And it was a symbolic restart. He told them, just go 500 on the back 9. They did that. They went 5-4 their last 9 conference games. And it's a big reason why they're still in the discussion for the NCAA tournament.
Well, no coach has the ability to look at the positive, I think, more effortlessly, Jay, than Mike Brey does.
Yeah, he wanted to keep his team fresh mentally and physically as best he could. But they adjusted, they kept fighting, they adapted to the situation that they had. I mean, it's not like they just lost Bonzie Colson. They've also lost DJ Harvey basically for the season as well. He hasn't played like 12 games. And Matt Farrell was out for 4 or 5 games. I mean, they had a lot of difficulty injury-wise that no other team really had to deal with at that level. You know, everybody's had some injuries, but nobody's had the amount of players out for as long as Notre Dame has and still been in the conversation.
Colson on the bench right now. Mooney back in. Torres in for Gebbin as well, as for the second time this half, Mike Brey tries to get his 2 front court players a little rest. Gibbs in some traffic, finds Farrell.
Good drives.
No look pass. Mooney adjusts and draws the foul.
See, Notre Dame has to do more of that. They have to get into the gaps. Dribble penetration can be really debilitating for a zone. If you get into the gaps, you make 2 play 1, and then you can kick it, get it to the baseline, kick it back out. They're such good passers, but get into a gap and then pass it.
So Mooney, the sophomore from Orlando, at the line for the Irish. Hey, don't forget to check out our alternate angle of tonight's game, the New York Life Above the Rim Cam, streaming live on the ESPN app. There have been some great looks from it so far this week and at various tournaments through Champ Week.
Any above the rim camera is going to catch a lot of Marvin Bagley.
Yep.
That dude plays way above the rim.
Notre Dame 0 for 4 from the line tonight. 2 misses by Colson, 2 misses by Mooney.
Notre Dame sticking with man-to-man. More containment, but they're not out top pressuring the ball.
Bagley, strong move. Bolden, stronger follow.
Nobody boxed him out. And from the top, Bolden got a run up. He's really given some good minutes. I think it really all started in Chapel Hill when in the first half, I think he wound up with 8 points in that first half in Chapel Hill. And that's when he really started to take off as a really valuable sub.
Gibbs a deep one. And Bagley will run down the miss.
It is a big 3.5 minutes as we're going toward halftime. You know, can Duke stretch this lead out, and can Notre Dame shorten it up?
Torres called for the foul, and that'll take us to the under 4 media timeout. The 2 seed Duke with an 8-point lead on the Irish.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Protect your family no matter what.
3:26 to go in the first half here in Brooklyn, and that means the Audi halftime report is not far away. Talk about a guy working hard this week. Reese Davis dealing with both Jay Will and Coach Greenberg. Coach is diagramming a play right now, and it's all Billis. It's all Billis all the time. Embrace your role, JB.
That would have gotten Greenberg off the bubble if he'd recruited me. I promise you that.
As usual, the last word belongs to Billis. Let's take a look at the weekend menu brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Saturday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship for Kansas City. We will have the championship game of this tournament, the New York Life ACC Final, Saturday night, 8:30. And the SEC Championship comes your way on Sunday afternoon.
Boy, Grayson Allen really cooled off, didn't he? He's 5 of 6 from 3. he's had an unbelievable first half.
5 players, 3 Irish, 2 Blue Devils, have played every second of this game so far. Allen into some traffic. Shot clock's at 1. Trent gets it off, but it's a shot clock violation.
Well, Notre Dame with a stop. It took them a while. They had to go the whole clock. But so far for Notre Dame, they've been getting good looks against the zone by getting into the middle. But each time these looks are 2s and not 3s. And I think they should attack Marvin Bagley's side of the floor.
Speaking of 2s and 3s, during the break they looked at a jumper by Gary Trent and changed it from a 2 to a 3. So that's why it's 40-31 as Gebbin follows up the Colson miss.
See, when you attack Bagley's side of the floor, not only do I think you can get a better shot, but then you've got a better opportunity to rebound on the weak side because you're going up against a guy like Gary Trent on the weak side.
Allen off a screen. Rebound Colson. Irish can get closer. Boy, Farrell puts pressure on you, doesn't he, when he brings the ball up the court?
He's an attack player, and I thought it was great in the locker room on the board. Notre Dame had written, "Keep letting it fly."
Gebbin from the baseline, too strong, and Alex O'Connell down with a rebound for Duke.
That is not an easy shot. Now Gebbin can make it, but it's not an easy shot. Again, that's a tough 2.
Bagley a little bit flat on that jump hook.
When you get into his chest, it makes it a little bit more difficult for him to elevate right next to the basket. When he's got space, boy, he gets up and he shoots down at the rim.
Duke playing zone every possession, as they have been by and large in recent weeks. Again, great passing. Gebbin to Colson.
Getting it to the baseline and then looking right into the middle.
We have no idea what the next 21.5 minutes of basketball will bring, but the eye test, Jay, says that Notre Dame's a tournament team. Whether they're judged that way if they lose tonight, we'll have to wait and see. But this is a good basketball team.
The only way Notre Dame doesn't make it is if the committee gets all messed up with all this quad nonsense. If you watch the games, this is a tournament team.
O'Connell, no.
That should have been a shot fake and dribble it, because Matt Farrell was right on top of Alex O'Connell, who's over a 50% shooter. But most of his shots have been open ones.
1 minute to go in the half. Farrell steps into it. Tip by Pfluger, tried to tap it to Colson, but Bolden picked it off, and Mike Krzyzewski will use a timeout. We're back in 30 seconds. Duke by 5 here in quarterfinal action from Brooklyn.
2-for-1 territory.
At a performance above, brought to you by Jersey Mike's.
Well, Notre Dame's passing has been excellent against this long and athletic 2-3 zone of Duke. Trying to get it along the baseline, and Martinez-Gebben looks immediately into the middle to Bonzi Colson with the terrific finish over Javin DeLaurier. Then turnabout is fair play, getting it into the middle to Colson, and Colson can operate in there. He can pass, he can make that shot and put it on the deck, and instead of passing to Gebben, he goes all the way to the rim. But again, those are just twos. And right now, with 52 seconds left in the first half, Duke has an opportunity to go for 2-for-1. They can get a quick shot, play defense, then come down and get another possession before they go into halftime.
You don't see it often in the college game. Let's see if the Blue Devils try to do it. Looks like they are. Duval off the window, no. Tap by Bagley, no. And it's Notre Dame ball. With 10.5 seconds separating game clock and shot clock, Notre Dame has cut into the Duke lead in the last couple of minutes. Mike Bray told us before the game he wants the first half just to be good enough to get him to the second half. Get him to the second half with a chance to win the game. Do you see any signs of fatigue from the Irish thus far?
No. I think they'll be fine. The one guy you worry about is Bonzi Colson, but heck, that guy's a warrior. Good pass.
Gebben got his man in the air and couldn't lay it in. That would have been a big bucket for the Irish. Now Duke can extend the lead. And Bagley will head to the free throw line.
A terrific job by Grayson Allen to attack in transition, get it into the paint.
Still to come tonight, Jim Larinaga and the Hurricanes, the number 3 seed. They'll take on the number 6 seed, North Carolina, in our last quarterfinal tonight. You were there. What a game those two programs had on senior night in Chapel Hill a week ago Tuesday.
Well, both teams shot over 54% in that game, and who will forget not only the shot by Joel Berry to tie the game, but that 35-footer at the buzzer by Jaquan Newton.
And you did an excellent job laying out and letting your play-by-play guy, Reese Davis, nail the call at the end of the game.
I respect my play-by-play guys. I'm not going to scream over your call.
DeLaurier and Colson battling. It's a held ball. Neither guy's upset. They're just both battling for the ball, and the arrow is going to give it to the Irish.
That's actually a big play because the ball goes to Notre Dame, and that means Duke will get the ball to start the second half on the alternating possession.
7 seconds. Gibbs finds a wide open Mooney.
Well, what a finish to the half for Notre Dame. Talk about using the first half to get to the second. Notre Dame has to be very pleased with the way things went in the first half, especially being down early. The Irish really fought back. Great job attacking this pressure and getting it along the baseline. Marvin Bagley nowhere to be found to protect the rim.
Allison Williams is with Mike Bray.
Thank you, Dan. Coach Bray, you said you had to play the first half to get to the second half. How were you able to do that 4-point game here?
We're in a lot better shape than last night at halftime. They're so explosive offensively. I thought our defense the last 4 minutes was really good, and we're going to have to score about 85 or 90 to beat them.
What do you need to do better defensively on Grayson Allen?
Yeah, I thought we lost them in transition. You know, we've done a better job getting back and our transition defense, and we'll have to be good against that in the second half. Pfluger does a good job with him.
Mike, thanks.
To his point, fast break points, Duke 11, Notre Dame 0, but they're only down 4. Good one here in Brooklyn. Time now for the halftime report with the coach and Jay Will. Here's Reese Davis.
Dan, I believe if you...
Welcome back to Brooklyn. Time now for tonight's game flow, brought to you by LG V30, and especially at the outset of the game, Marvin Bagley could not be stopped. Inside, Grayson Allen couldn't miss from outside. 5 threes in the first half for the senior. Bonzi Colson helping to keep Notre Dame in it. 10.6 rebounds. Some gaps in the middle of that zone. And Duke with a 4-point lead on Notre Dame. Welcome back to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. This is the 2018 New York Life ACC Tournament. The number 2 seed Duke, the number 10 seed Notre Dame, and the Blue Devils lead the Irish by 4. Let's talk about it from a Notre Dame perspective because they conceivably are on the bubble right now. Should Mike Brey be happy where his team is at this point?
I wouldn't be upset. They've scored, they scored 37 points in the first half on a team that hadn't been giving up a lot of points. And I think Notre Dame's just got to get stops in the second half. They did a pretty good job the last 7 or 8 minutes of the first half defending, made it a little more difficult on Duke, made them take some tougher twos and got back in transition and took away open threes from Duke that they were getting almost at will the first maybe 14 minutes of the first half. But I think Notre Dame has to feel pretty good about things. But they got to get TJ Gibbs and Matt Farrell going offensively. Those guys have got to score some buckets. They can't just be passers in the second half.
And remember, Wendell Carter Jr. didn't play much in the first half because of foul trouble. Let's get more from Allison.
And guys, with Wendell Carter Jr. not playing much, just 6 minutes in the first half, that's really hurt their zone defense. Associate head coach Jeff Capel said he is our best guy in the middle of that zone, so they've really missed him. They need him to be able to play, to be smarter and to be better. But on top of that, they have to be way more active in the zone. They have to talk, and they want to shrink it a little bit. They were out too far on the wing, so they need to come in and try and take away Notre Dame's passes.
Notre Dame, as you saw on the graphic, 24 points in the paint in the first half. Javon Duval had 7 assists in the first half, also turned it over 4 times. And that will stay with Duke with 10 on the shot clock.
Looked like Mike Brey's adjusted a little bit. Martinez Gebben was up on top and guarding Wendell Carter Jr., not letting him pick apart in that high-low, trying to get it to Bagley. He's putting a little bit of pressure and going up top with him.
Trent driving on Gibbs, called for the travel.
But what a great job defensively by TJ Gibbs to stay in front of Gary Trent Jr. on that drive. Trent Jr. had to really go right into his chest to get that space.
Notre Dame, a good 3-point shooting team, 37% as a group on the season, just 3 for 12 in the first half. Another good look for Colson. Well, they're making it look easy getting the ball into the middle of that zone.
Just on ball reversal, they're getting it right into the middle, and if you don't come up and get him, he's going to score that. If you do come up and get him, he's going to be able to drive around you or pass the ball.
Now, Duke has been almost exclusively a zone team for about a month. Bagley with a follow. Do you think there's any chance Mike Krzyzewski comes out of the zone in this game tonight?
Not when he got the lead. I don't see any reason to go against what's worked so well for the last 7 games.
And statistically, Duke's been one of the best defensive teams in the country since they went zone. Grayson Allen saves it. Bagley comes up with it. And then has his pocket picked from behind by Pfluger, but it's out of bounds to Duke.
Well, I think Notre Dame's at its best when they overload the side that Marvin Bagley is on. And on the reversal, that ball just goes right into the middle to Colson. And if you're not right on him, he's going to turn and shoot it. But again, that's only a 2. And instead of giving up 3s to Notre Dame, which can really hurt you, they're just giving up a 2 in the middle.
Pfluger knocks it away, but Bagley cleans it up. He's just so quick to the ball.
Yeah, Marvin Bagley, he's fortunate there, but he's in the right place at the right time. But already has an offensive rebound stick back. Duke gets about 40% of its misses. That leads the country, 16 points a game on second chance points. And look how good. You just don't see guys in the middle of a zone operate with that degree of ease. You know, Bonzie Colson just, he can play at difficult spots on the floor. And the middle of that zone is a difficult spot. You don't see guys play with that kind of poise all the time. Colson, he's so long, and you get it into the middle, and Carter's just faking at him. And a lot of guys, they wouldn't be able to handle that. You know, it's an odd place to have the ball, and you're surrounded a little bit. You're not sure exactly what to do. You got a 3-second count on you. But he operates with a ton of poise there because he can make so many plays.
Gebben with a rejection right at the rim on Carter.
Boy, that was a basket-saving block by Martinez Gebben. Way more athletic than you think.
We saw him early in the season make a couple of big free throws to beat Wichita State out at Maui. He's had a really good year for the Irish. Made a really good pass to Colson, but Bonzie couldn't handle it.
There's some good pass fakes by Rex Pfluger. But Martinez Gebben, especially when Bonzie Colson was out, he had so many great games. It was really early on in ACC play, a double-double guy, where he was averaging over 10 points, over 10 rebounds a game. through the first half of ACC play.
Bagley adjusts in midair, gets it back to his strong hand, and it makes it a 6-point lead.
That's where Duke looking to isolate him on that left block. Remember last year they used to do that for Jason Tatum a lot. Did it for Jabari Parker. And that time did it for Marvin Bagley.
Another great pass, but then stolen away.
You don't see Notre Dame turn the ball over much.
Only twice in the first half. Now a steal by Colson. Notre Dame hanging around here with a 2-seed Duke, better than 3 minutes into the second half. The winner will get the winner of our second quarterfinal tonight between Miami and North Carolina. You won't want to miss that one. Colson down to the court, grimacing and slow to get back up. Carter takes advantage.
Mike Brey telling his team, calm down. We're okay. That was a quick trigger from deep by Matt Farrell. Not sure that was the shot. And he needs to get something to go. He's not had any success making shots in this game.
Gavin misses one from the short corner. And a turnover, though, will give it back to the Irish.
Thanks to Rex Pfluger, just alert in transition. Duval with his back to Pfluger, didn't see him, and winds up turning it over as a result. Duke is making some choices in this zone. They're really doing a good job guarding the three-point line. If Gevin's going to get the ball along the baseline, take that tough little shot, they'll give him that too if he can make it.
Duval with a steal and a flush, and all of a sudden it's a double-digit lead for Duke. Timeout, Notre Dame.
Trevon Duval, 48 steals on the season going into that one. And the long-armed athletic Trevon Duval makes a steal at the top, knocks it toward the bucket, takes it the other way for the one-handed slam. Duke now by 10.
He lost it on the way up and got it back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Protect your family no matter what.
Roy Williams and the Tar Heels in the house here in Brooklyn. They'll take on the Miami Hurricanes. 6-seed against 3-seed. Had a great game last week in Chapel Hill, won by Miami. That's coming your way next right here on ESPN. After this game concludes, Marvin Bagley III got off to a great start in the first half, got off to a great start here in the second half. He's already got 16 points, 10 rebounds. This is his 28th game this season. Missed 4 with an injury. And 20 of the 28, Jay. He's had a double-double.
Really a remarkable season by Marvin Bagley III. Just a tremendously productive player that is still scratching the surface of how good he's going to be. And here's a guy that's got to get going. Matt Farrell has to get going for Notre Dame. 1 of 7 from the field. He does have 9 assists. He's got to put some points on the board.
Gibbs too strong on the 3. Long rebound out to the Blue Devils. And a foul by Gibbs. And not a good one to take us to the under-16 media timeout. Mike Brey trying to stay positive, but Duke's up by 10.
Another timeout? They don't do that in the Conference of Champions.
Legendary. Tonight ain't for 4th place. Let's go! Yeah!
To Robinson for the dunk. Bain for 3.
Got it at the buzzer.
Brown off balance.
Plus the foul. Sexton got it. He got it. He got it. Legendary.
You gotta love Champ Week. If you're a fan of Alabama, you love what you saw today from Colin Sexton. Alabama, they still on the bubble. Notre Dame on the bubble. Oklahoma, where Louisville's been knocked out here. Beaten by Virginia earlier today. Marquette's in a battle right now in the Big East over in Manhattan against Villanova, so a lot still to be decided in the next few days. Here's Allison Williams.
Mike Brey's trademark positivity coming through in that last timeout. He was laughing with his guys. He said, this is nothing. We were in a way worse spot last night when we were down 21 at this point to Virginia Tech. He said, we're fine, we're good. I want you guys, though, to really try and drive the zone like we did against Virginia Tech. Use that same mentality. We're right where we want to be.
I will always remember, Jay, the 5 overtime game in South Bend a few years back between Louisville and Notre Dame. And the deeper into the game, the more overtime periods there were, the more relaxed Mike Bray got. His message to his team and every time out was basically, how much fun is this?
Have fun and let it fly. I mean, you're not breaking rocks out there, although it seems like it when you have to try to block out Marvin Bagley III, who his ability to get off the floor over and over again is amazing. It's just amazing. He can jump higher on his second jump than a lot of guys can if they get a run up. You know, Allison Williams' point about driving the ball, the more Notre Dame drives it into a gap to make 2-play-1, the more they're going to get shots like that. And they're going to put Duke in a position to foul, which they really haven't done as much of in the course of the game.
Wendell Carter saddled with foul trouble much of the night tonight. That ball's out of bounds to the Irish.
A lot of bodies bouncing off one another, but Bonzie Colson is so quick with his hands. That's where Wendell Carter really has to make that quicker move. He had one-on-one in the post against Martinez Gebben, and he needs to just go. I mean, go to work and do it quickly.
Into Colson. And bothered enough by Carter that he couldn't convert.
Well, Carter went straight up with both arms up in the air, and the referees usually don't call that contact with the body.
Bagley for 3, his second of the night.
Boy, when he adds that consistent three-point shot to his game, and you have to go out and get him out there, forget it. He'll be near unguardable.
Luger the kick to Farrell. Not his night so far from the perimeter, and Bagley with yet another rebound.
Yeah, Farrell hasn't gotten anything to go.
Duval, strong drive, won't stay down. Notre Dame ball. And a foul on Carter that Bonzie Colson sold, and Carter just picked up his 4th. Colson knew exactly what he was doing, getting in the way of Carter.
Carter all by himself going after that ball, and I don't know whether that was frustration on the part of Wendell Carter, but he ran right into him, and he saw him. You could tell.
Well, they played without him for long stretches in the first half. They'll have to do it again here in the second half, but they're still up by 13. Gebben with a strong rebound, and he's going to the line.
Martinez Gebben is one of the best offensive rebounders in the country. And he averages over 8 rebounds a game on the season. 3 of them are offensive rebounds because he positions himself so well. He reads where the shot's coming from. He'll go to the weak side, and he wedges in there. He even blocks out on the offensive end. Really uses his body well.
Notre Dame has not made a free throw yet tonight. 0 for 4 in the first half. Gebben, a very good shooter for a big guy. I know. Why do you have to say that about the big guy?
You're such a discriminator. Why do you hate big guys?
Sports Center after Miami, North Carolina tonight with SVP. He's a big guy, and I like him a lot. Michael Porter was back for Missouri. Jay Billis with his insight on significant games among the other stories tonight. Let's talk about a couple of.
Well, first of all, that should have been on top.
Yes.
Why is that in the middle? That should have been on top. I'm going to have to talk to somebody at Sports Center for putting these graphics together.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael Porter. You've been relegated to number 2. What about the 2 games that we saw earlier here today in Brooklyn? Virginia beating Louisville and Clemson over Boston College. What'd you think?
You know, at some point, even though Virginia doesn't maybe look the part, you know, it's not like they have all these guys who are, you know, it's not like you're going to kick sand in their face on the beach, but you know, 17-1 in this league, and then doing what they did to Louisville today.
Yeah.
I mean, they are beyond legit. And they've got to be a favorite to win this whole thing.
Yeah. Kyle Guy had a terrific game. Really good player. Devin Hall, really good player. Ty Jerome, really good player. Wilkins,
DeAndre
really good
Hunter,
player.
all those guys.
Yeah, really good players.
I mean, and nobody plays defense harder and more together than Virginia. And if you don't do something quickly against them, when you bring the ball down, if you're going to get it down toward the end of the clock, forget it.
And Clemson, they got a fight from Boston College. Jim Christian's team played really well here in Brooklyn and put up a fight for much of the afternoon against the Tigers. But Clemson, one of those under-the-radar teams, having a really nice year.
And doing it with, as well as Clemson is playing now, it's even more impressive that they're doing it without Dante Grantham, who's out for the season with a knee injury, and he was their best player. And Marquise Reed, Gabe DeVoe. Gabe DeVoe had 25 in that game today. He was fantastic. But that is going to be an old school rock fight against Virginia.
That'll be the first semifinal tomorrow night. The winner of this one against the winner of Miami, North Carolina in the second game. That's Elijah Burns who has checked into the game for the Irish, and he draws the foul on Marquise Bolden as Marvin Bagley III looks like he's getting a little attention on his hand or his wrist on the Duke bench.
Well, they better fix that because within the next several months he's going to have to pick up large sums of money from some NBA team.
So Carter's got 4, Bolden's got 3, and Bagley's on the bench. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. Yeah, looked like just a collision with Bonzie Colson's hand there. Wooden Award finalist and ACC Player of the Year Marvin Bagley on the bench right now for the Blue Devils. 8 minutes into the second half.
Notre Dame sticking with man-to-man. Picked up a foul. TJ Gibbs reaching in. But they're doing a good job on ball screens, just kind of stringing them out and not letting Duke turn the corner.
Timeout on the floor. Mike Krzyzewski's team up a dozen. First game of 2 in the night session here in Brooklyn. There's the guy who won the most outstanding player in this tournament 2 years ago. Joel Berry and the Heels coming up against the Canes.
First team all hair, and I'm jealous. Well, Duke has become a zone defensive team. You can see the midline right there, and with the ball on the left, they are overloading one side and then getting it to the weak side and trying to get the ball into the middle. Collapses the zone. But Duke brings their wings up at times to match up, and Trayvon Duval does a great job of shooting the gap here and taking away a lazy pass and taking it the other way for an easy basket. But really, the whole game has boiled down to this. You've got Pfluger, Farrell, and Gibbs, 3 of 15 combined from three-point range. If they don't hit some threes, I'm not sure that Notre Dame is going to be able to score enough twos in order to beat Duke. They have got to make some threes. And Farrell, Gibbs, and Pfluger have got to be the 3 to do it.
From the baseline, the jumper is there for Elijah Burns, with Mike Reagan stealing a minute or 2 with Colson and Gebbin on the bench. And in fact, Gebbin was getting ready to check back in. Burns knocked the shot down. Mike Bray sent Gebbin back to the bench.
Yeah, and it's a good shot there by Burns, but again, it's a 2 and a difficult 2 to make. That little short corner jumper is not easy. And rather than give up open threes, if you have to give up a couple of those, so be it.
Bagley back in the game after what we're told was a jammed right finger, nothing serious. And Wendell Carter back in the game with 4 fouls for Duke.
And Carter could have picked up 5 right there on that baseline drive by Gibbs.
Farrell for 3.
But how deep is that?
Too deep, as it turns out, and his struggles continue.
And Duke now going to burn a little bit of clock. Still try to attack, but they're not in any hurry. If they don't have it in transition, make Notre Dame defend for a little while.
Duval off the ball screen. Carter driving by Mooney, who fouled him.
But what a great shot fake by Wendell Carter Jr. When he caught the ball in the elbow, gave a little shot fake, got Mooney off balance, and then that was a really nice drive. See how low he got and then exploded to the basket, got fouled. There's really nothing this young man can't do as a basketball player. And if he played outside the shadow of Marvin Bagley III, I mean, how much would we be talking about this guy? We talk about him plenty anyway, but I don't think he gets near the credit he deserves for what a great talent he is and how good he's going to be.
Yeah, if he's on virtually any other of the 350 Division I teams, he'd be the featured big guy.
Well, if he played just on another team in the ACC, he would have been first team All ACC with the numbers he put. He's second team anyway.
Yeah. Bagley Player of the Year, Carter's second team, Grayson Allen third team. Bolden for Carter, and Gebben and Colson back in for Notre Dame.
Well, the ball starts out in the hands of TJ Gibbs. They started the clock too early when nobody touched it.
Always interesting at this kind of an event. We've got a full house here in Brooklyn. We can see the Notre Dame fans easily with the green, and we can see the dark blue of the Duke fans. We see a lot of light blue, of course, with Carolina playing in the second game, and you know that all the North Carolina fans are at least temporarily Notre Dame fans right now. They're rooting hard against the Blue Devils. Something about that rivalry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never experienced it yourself.
Good fake by Pfluger.
Deflected out of bounds. Irish ball.
Well, this defense that Duke has committed to, this 2-3 zone, it can be really difficult to play against just because of the size and the length. I mean, both Allen and Duval have length out front, and both athletic.
That was a lob, I think. Gebben went to rebound it and got the rebound anyways and laid it back in. I think it was a lob. Gebben having a good game. It's a 12-point lead for the Blue Devils.
Notre Dame needs a stop right here.
A lob for Bolden, too far away from the bucket. He finds Allen. And Notre Dame ball. The Irish get their stop. Now can they get the score? Bagley with a loose ball for Duke.
But Gebben almost had that.
Gebben's got 14 points and 8 rebounds tonight, but could not win that battle with Marvin Bagley.
Here's the clear out on the left.
One of his featured moves. And Bagley's now got 25 points and 14 rebounds.
It's almost like that move's just instinctive. It's not something you really practice much. You know, lefty driving to the right, shooting with his left hand.
Floater for Colson.
So Notre Dame is getting the shots they want from 2, but they're not getting anything from 3. Every 3 they've put up has been extraordinarily deep.
They're 3 for 18 from 3 and have missed their last 12.
Good fake.
Step in jumper. Allen is true. 21 for Grayson Allen.
But then you just ask the question, Dan, can Notre Dame, and it's a strategic thing, can Notre Dame make enough 2s to win? And I think the answer is no. And if they can't find a way to get some 3s to go down, you know, I'm not sure they can score enough from 2 to win.
Grayson Allen, by the way, with his points tonight, has passed Nolan Smith and Grant Hill to move into 16th place on Duke's all-time scoring list.
Grant Hill was pretty good.
He was pretty good.
Nolan Smith was an ACC Player of the Year. It's starting to get into rarefied air, no matter where you are in that top 20 list, but that's impressive.
Might get by Sheldon Williams tonight as well. Marvin Bagley's not going to get by these guys because he's not going to be here as long as those guys were, but boy, has he left his mark in one season in Durham. 16-point lead, Blue Devils, 7.5 to go. An update from the studio now. Here's Kevin Connors. Wow. Coming up next here for the New York Life ACC Tournament, the number 6 seed, the North Carolina Tar Heels taking on the number 3 seed as the Miami Hurricanes make their Brooklyn debut this week. That is our next game tonight from the Barclays Center. Sets up the semis tomorrow. In the first one, it'll be the number 1 team in the nation, the ACC regular season champion, Virginia Cavaliers, who shut down Louisville, beat them by 17. And they'll take on the Clemson Tigers, an 8-point winner over Boston College. Carolina and Jim Larinaga's team, the Hurricanes, getting loose in the hallway for people who haven't seen a lot of Miami. Mr. Billis, what do you like about them?
They play hard and they play together. You know, they don't have anybody that averages over 12 points a game. That's one of the lowest leading scorers in Division I. Juan Huell leads the team in scoring at just under 12 a game. And Miami's had some issues defending. You know, they've given up, 48% from the field in ACC games, but yet they've won their last 4 games, each of them decided by a bucket.
Mike Bray doesn't like that call. It goes against Bonzie Colson. 2 weeks ago, Miami was seen as a bubble team. I don't think anybody's had a more significant couple of weeks than the Miami Hurricanes. They've won 4 in a row by a total of 8 points. 2 1-point wins and 2 3-point wins.
And they're doing it without Bruce Brown, their best player, who's been out.
Marquise Bolden knocks down the 18-footer, and Duke is pulling away.
Well, to this point in the game, Rex Pfluger, Matt Farrell, TJ Gibbs, 3 of 17 from 3. Well, Duke has done a very good job of guarding that 3-point line and not allowing anything open.
And finally, Farrell will get one to go. 74-59.
Maybe that'll open some things up for Farrell. It took him a while. The first one he hit was early in the first half.
The Irish should have missed 12 consecutive threes before that make. Duval down to Bagley. And there's not a whole lot you can do trying to guard that.
Yeah, how are you going to stop that? That's now 29 points and 14 rebounds for Marvin Bagley III. Yet just a bucket and a rebound away from another 30-15 game. That would be his 4th on the year, wouldn't it?
Yes.
It's remarkable. Those are like high school numbers. It's ridiculous. Nate James, 2001 national champion, talking to his big guys. He coaches the big guys, and he's done a pretty good job with Marvin Bagley III. It's a good pupil to have. He can knock down threes. Not his forte, but then the isolation on the left block, going to his right, going back to his left hand. Yeah, he just does stuff that you can't teach. Winds up playing so far above the rim. 2nd, 3rd jump, offensive rebounds. The only thing he really doesn't do, he's not a great shot blocker, and he's not a great defender. But he's got the ability to be that. There's nothing on a basketball floor that he cannot do. And he's going to get better and better.
Let's get an update from Allison.
Well, guys, Notre Dame is going to have to really dig deep here for the final 6 minutes of what is their 3rd game in 3 nights. And they've logged not just a ton of minutes, but a ton of miles as well. This is how many miles they've traveled throughout the first 2+ games. This is up to date, including tonight's game. Rex Pfluger leading the way, 7.5 miles. Matt Farrell over 7. TJ Gibbs just under. So each game, Mike Bray has really asked them just go out there and empty the tank. The question is, how much is in the tank tonight for the Fighting Irish? And guys, visibly watching them tonight versus last night, they don't seem to be as fatigued, but I wonder if it's showing up in their struggles from beyond the arc.
Well, couldn't they cut the mileage down if they took the subway? I mean, I took the subway over from the hotel.
Yeah.
I took the 4 train. When you guys were in your limo, Allison Williams and Dan Schulman, you elitists.
We had a really nice ride. Yeah. Climate controlled, no issues, hardly any traffic.
I had a great time with the fabulous people of New York City, and the gritty, grimy subway was beautiful.
Well, when they speak of Jay Billis, the first thing they say is he's a man of the people.
They do.
Yes.
They do.
Yevon will take a seat. Grayson Allen off to a hot start tonight. Knocked down 5 threes early. He's got 21. Marvin Bagley III, 29 points, 14 rebounds. They're going to double him here.
Got an offensive foul
against Bagley.
I'll tell you, it's remarkable the difference in this Duke team when they decided to commit to this 2-3 zone. Right now, as you can see that isolation, Rex Pfluger coming with the double. And just a little shoulder into Colson. Colson probably put a little acting into it. But that's what good players do. But Duke now is the only team in the country that is ranked in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency in the KenPom.com ratings. And that's really significant. When you look at the teams, there are only 2 teams ranked in the top 25 in both, and that's Duke and Villanova. And if you look back over the course of years that Ken Pomeroy's been doing those ratings, you know, how you rank in both, if you're in the top 25, you are a Final Four caliber team and a national championship contending team.
And there's no question that back in January, defense was a concern for the Blue Devils, but what some considered a weakness has become a strength the last several weeks.
Well, what the zone does, you know, Mike Krzyzewski talks all the time about the communication, that it really helps them in their talk, but from my seat, what it does is it keeps all the big guys around the basket, and they're not out having to guard ball screens and moving all over the place and having to rotate. They still have to make slides. They still have to be alert defensively, but it keeps them around the basket, and they're better positioned to run because their guards are out top in a running position. Their big guys are positioned near the basket in order to rebound.
31 for Bagley.
And there's still 4:19 to go in regulation.
Miami, North Carolina still to come tonight. Farrell with a floater. And a timeout taken by Mike Bray. We'll step aside. Duke 4:09 away and up 16.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life. We know that life doesn't fit into any one plan, so start a plan that flexes with yours.
All right, Kevin, thank you. So Texas a bubble team, Notre Dame a bubble team, but Duke has pulled away. Jay, they are up 16 right now on the Irish. What's been the struggle for Notre Dame?
Well, it's been a difficult time getting open three-point shots, and because Duke is extending to that three-point line and they've got so much length and they extend this zone, Notre Dame's having to shoot the ball 27, 28, 29 feet away. And right now, 5 of 22 from three-point range. But you know what? Notre Dame's played well enough offensively overall. They've got 28 field goals, 23 assists on those 28 field goals. They're shooting 46%. But Duke scored 80 points so far, and they're shooting 55%, 71% in the second half. They're just dominating the paint. That's 42 points in the paint right now for Duke, and it's been just a nightmare for Notre Dame to get stops defensively.
And it's been Bagley's night, hasn't it? He's up to 33 now, 15 out of 23 from the field. He's got a couple of threes. He's got 14 rebounds. He has been beyond a force. There's his 15th. So that is the 4th 30-15 game this season for Marvin Bagley III.
You just can't stop him. Who are you going to put on him? You know, they've tried Bonzie Colson. Now Elijah Burns is on him. Doesn't matter who they put on him. He's a superior offensive player.
Gibbs will lay it in and draw the foul.
Really nice pass ahead. And TJ Gibbs, who also has not been able to get anything to go from the perimeter, you know, getting the ball to the rim, just getting by Gary Trent Jr. And then Trent Jr. fouling him, still completing the play. You know, TJ Gibbs is such a good player.
Nikola Jogo makes his first appearance of the game for Notre Dame, number 13 in blue, a sophomore from Hamilton, Ontario, as Rex Pfluger has gone to the bench.
And Jogo, a guy who in practice is Notre Dame's best shooter. He just hasn't made shots in games at the same level that he makes them in practice. But Farrell wanted to get it to Jogo up court.
Pull up three, not there, and why not? Another rebound for Bagley. His 16th. What a ridiculously strong night for Marvin Bagley III. 33 and 16 in 37 minutes. He only sat for about 30 seconds when they were looking at that finger of his.
Maybe we can get an isolation camera on him, see if he's broken a sweat yet.
Duval too high on the lob. Virginia and Clemson advancing earlier today into the semifinals. The number 2 seed, the Duke Blue Devils, on their way. Burns, and that was just an easy block for Carter. And Duval will miss the dunk. Went for the two-handed cram. Duke bench screaming for a foul.
Well, Jogo came from behind him couldn't tell from this angle whether he got a piece of his arm, but he certainly bothered. Just a great block, and this is a timing issue. Burns waited until Carter came down. He just bounced right back up, and yeah, I'm not sure that Jogo even touched him.
Tonight's second round action of the SEC men's basketball tournament continues on the SEC network. LSU and Mississippi State currently going at it for the right to play Tennessee. Arkansas, South Carolina still to come. Alabama with a thrilling finish. Colin Sexton with about a 6-foot underhand kind of scoop, kind of George Gervin finger roll, a little bit of a hybrid to beat A&M by a point. They advance on to play Auburn. What an opportunity for the Tide if they can pick up another win tomorrow.
That was an amazing play by Colin Sexton. I'm still surprised that Texas A&M let him catch the ball and without much resistance dribble it all the way up the court. And once he passed half court and got it right near the top of the key, he's not passing it. Everybody needed to converge on him, but he left off his right foot from right about the free throw line and was able to get that to go with his right hand and a little sort of scoop finger roll. It was a magnificent shot.
Marvin Bagley done for the night. His fourth 30-15 game. In Mike Krzyzewski's 38 years coaching Duke, there have been 5 30-15 games by Blue Devils. 1 by Christian Laettner and 4 by Marvin Bagley III.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So Duke is going to advance. So 3/4 of the way through the quarterfinals. It's chalk so far in the ACC. Number 1 Virginia, number 2 Duke, number 4 Clemson. We'll see if that continues when the 3 seed Miami takes on the 6 seed North Carolina about 25 minutes after the conclusion of this game.
It'll be interesting to see whether North Carolina packed its defense to come to Brooklyn, because the last time that North Carolina played Miami, and North Carolina's not done a stellar job all year of guarding the three-point line. They've had some difficulty guarding the rim and scoring around the rim, but yet still they've been a top 10 team, finished 11-7 in the league. But after the Duke game, the win that they had in the Smith Center on February 8th, I thought they really kind of found something. And the one game that they didn't bring it since that Duke game was the game that they had against Miami. They allowed Miami to shoot 54% in the Smith Center, and they seemed to score at will in that ball game. They made, if I remember right, it was 11 of 22 from 3 in that game.
Nice ovation from the Duke fans here in Brooklyn for Grayson Allen. 23 points on the night. North Carolina, an experienced team, of course. A number of their players part of last year's national championship team and a part of the ACC Tournament championship team from 2 years ago.
And Notre Dame will leave Brooklyn to go back to South Bend and sweat it out a little bit. Not because of the way they played, but because of all the injuries. And how is the committee going to factor in those injuries and what Notre Dame has been and is with Bonzie Colson and what they were without him.
Joe Lunardi has the Irish as one of his first 4 out right now.
And remember, there's still a couple of bid stealers out there. If some of the favorites in some of these other conferences, whether it's the Mountain West or you name it, that they wind up stealing a bid, that's going to hurt somebody.
Alex O'Connell throwing down. The Irish hung with Duke for 20 minutes, couldn't do it in the next 20 minutes on their 3rd game in as many nights. And the 2 seed, the Duke Blue Devils, led by a huge night from Marvin Bagley III, and advance on to the semifinals against the winner of the next game between Miami and North Carolina. The Irish will have to wait until Sunday to learn their fate. 88-70 the final. Duke led by Bagley with 33 points, 17 rebounds. So the Blue Devils are on to the semifinals against the winner of the next game. Virginia and Clemson are safely through to tomorrow night's semifinals as well here in Brooklyn. Good first performance here by the 2 seed. Duke wins, and here comes Carolina with the Tar Heels getting ready to tangle with the Hurricanes in our next game about 25 minutes from now right here on ESPN. Mike Krzyzewski's won 14 ACC Tournament championships. And he's got his Blue Devils into the semis here at the Barclays Center.
Let's take a look at the 2018 Brooklyn ACC Tournament with Duke swing. They go on to the semifinals.
Bagley to start tonight, 33 points, 17 rebounds. Grayson Allen had a big night as well with 23, and he's with Allison Williams.
Thank you, Dan. Grayson, you're the only senior with all these young pups. What did you tell them to help prepare them for their first tournament experience?
I just tried to, tell them the importance of going all out, because we're at the point in the season where you win or go home. And so we can't have a game where we come out and we don't show up, we don't give all the effort. We just can't have that, or else we're going back to Durham. And none of these guys want that. I think they know. I told them we only had 2 games guaranteed left, and so now we got another one. So hopefully we can stay here and win 2 more.
Speaking of going all out, Marvin Bagley certainly did that. You played with some great players during your 4 years at Duke. How would you describe what it's like to play with him?
Well, he's incredible, because a lot of the stuff he does is just, he's a freak athlete first off, and if you notice, he's the first guy down the court every single time. That's why he gets so many lobs. That's why he gets great post position, and he will wear the other team out. And so that's a big advantage for us. And then once he gets going with that, we saw in the second half, he has a lot of skill to him too, where he can make jump shots. He can go right or left and finish. Extremely talented guy. We're very lucky to have him, and especially playing at this high level down the stretch.
All right, on to the semis. If you had your choice, I know you don't, but if you did, Miami or that school down the road from you guys? Who do you want to play?
I can't give you a straight up answer on that question. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a great game. Both of them are really tough. They gave us really tough games both times. UNC obviously beat us one time. So we're just looking forward to a battle. Spoken like a true senior. Veteran answer right there, guys.
All right, Allison, thanks. He'll get his straight up answer in a couple of hours, because Miami and North Carolina are coming up, the winner to take on Duke. First, though, time now for college basketball live scoreboard. Reese Davis and the guys.